If you love CFM, you come to the right place. My name is Mad Scientist, former EA game changer, former EA community leader, former head hammer swinger at MaddenMania.com. I'm an old school gamer going back to the 1900s. That means I'm your grandmother's favorite gamer. So I sat out last year, did not play Madden 21. It's the first year since the 1900s that I have not played a season of Madden. Yeah, I rep the hashtag Fix Madden franchise. Represented. We got some changes this year, so I want to talk about it. Let's get into it. My man Hollywood Sports once said Madden CFM is the ultimate NFL football simulation. I think about this quote, and it reminds me there is much work that EA must do to get CFM to a level where we feel like it accurately and realistically simulates NFL football. Yo, in my real job, I am a academic administrator and college professor, so I got to rock the PowerPoints. But first, let's talk about disclaimers. This is not a paid endorsement. EA didn't pay me any money. They don't know I'm making this video. I do have the beta. I've not been contacted by EA. I've not been down to Tiburon this year to see the game like I normally do. I have the same information at my disposal as you do, other than having the beta, gridiron notes, interviews, anything I can get my hands on. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what made it in the CFM, what we still need, and then some closing thoughts. I like to call that Madology. Let's talk about one of the big ticket items that was added to the game, a community requested feature for years, the addition of offensive and defensive coordinators, and also the Office of Player Personnel. Now you can hire and fire your staff, of course, accordingly as needed. They also develop and they use a talent tree system similar to skill trees or coach trees in NCAA football. So the head coach, defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, and Office of Player Personnel all have talent trees that you can upgrade based on staffing points that you earn. And what I like about this tree structure is that it builds from the top down, not down up. And also, once you take one of the branches, the other branches are locked on the other side. So that means you and your opponent may have different talents that you add to your staff based on what you're interested in, what motivates you, and also you're limited by the path that you can take. So what that really means is you can't get all the talent. You can only get some of them, and then once you max out, that's it. But you get these staff points and you determine where you want to upgrade your staff. That's sort of up to you. The points are just in a general pool, so it's pretty cool. I don't want to restate things that are already stated in like a previous videos and things like that, but I just want to say that I do like this, and it sounds like there are 60 talents at the start, or over 60, and then more coming by live updates, so that's great. Another huge big ticket item, progressive fatigue. So basically what this means is that over the course of the season, your players get tired, they don't have as much energy, and that energy or lack of energy follows them from game to game. Now in practice, you can manage some of this fatigue by how you conduct your practices and whether or not you practice with full pads or light pads or whatever it is, and all of this has an effect on your overall, they call it player health, your overall fatigue. So what I like about this is there's some risk reward going on here. If you practice in full pads, as you can read, you have the opportunity to get the highest XP, but also there's a higher injury chance and less fatigue recovery. So that's right on the screen. So pretty interesting, and this is going to change the dynamics of practice and game preparation. But check this out. I have not been a big fan of linking fatigue to injury. I didn't believe that was the case, but doing some research on Google University, I found out that this is a realistic construct. So let me read this to you. Elevated fatigue levels, both physically and mentally, for a prolonged period of time can significantly increase the risk of injury due to the compromisation of muscle strength, coordination, mental attentiveness, and concentration. So that's pretty deep. So yeah, this is a realistic construct. I'm a realist. Like if something doesn't make sense and it's like gamey or arcadey, I'm not having it. So I can roll with this. All right, since we're running out of time, I'm going to call an audible right now. Talk about two more things. One is scouting and also weekly strategy and halftime adjustments. So let's talk about weekly strategy. What you can do in Madden 22 CFM is select the opposing player's top offensive and defensive player and create a game plan around them. And then these game plans get executed in the game. And if by some chance your strategy or your game plan doesn't work, during halftime, you're able to adjust it and change the strategy. So I do really like that. For many years, we've been fighting for a scouting revamp, and now we got it. So let's talk about this. So 4 regional scouts, a national scout. Now, EA hasn't talked a lot about this because, one, it's not a feature that's coming out at launch, and 2, they're going to try to get it out, roll it out around the September time frame. So we hope all of that works. I know some people don't want to wait. This is the type of feature that you want to wait for, because once you start your CFM, you can't go back and can't add it into an existing CFM. So EA hasn't talked a lot about this feature. Let's see what we can glean from the screenshots. So it looks like from this screenshot, right now we're looking at the Western region breakdown. And so it looks like you see the scout, Ted Davis. He's a tier 1. That means he hasn't worked a lot as a scout. He has some type of a efficiency boost when scouting a position. So each scout appears to have 2 positions that they are good in scouting, or let's say they're 2 main ones. And so if you send them to scout a quarterback and that's their top, let's say top expertise, right? You're probably going to get a higher probability of a good scouting report, or a most efficient scouting report, or a more accurate, let's use that word, scouting report. So these scouts, if you don't have a good one, they're not going to do a good job of scouting. But under the scouts box, you also see top prospects and strengths and weaknesses. I'm assuming this is of this region. So what can we glean from the scout hiring screen? So one thing, scouts have different tiers, right? And we can tell, at least on this screen, that there's 3 different tiers, right? Tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. You can also see by looking at tiers and experience that's measured in years is that scouts that have more years of experience have higher tiers. So the tiers probably based on some type of a longevity indicator. After you get a certain amount of years or seasons under your belt, you move up in tier, and then those tiers give you some type of abilities. Once again, from the screen, you can see that each scout has 2 position expertises that they're good at scouting. And you can see at the very top that the scout Mike Pennell Jr. Is listed as having an OLB and an S position expertise, but OLB covers all the linebackers. It looks like outside, left, and right, and then safety would cover free safety and strong safety. All right, from this screen, we're looking at scout assignments, and we can tell that there's scouts assigned everywhere except the central region. So this coach, the Bears coach, would have to go and hire a scout for this region. You can also see here that tier 3 scouts, that's the national scout and the area scout for the South region, they both have 15% efficiency boost. So that is probably related to their tier 3, right? tier 1, it looks like you're getting 5% efficiency boost when scouting a position, probably a position based on your area of expertise. So if a tier 1 gets a 5% and a tier 3 gets a 15%, we can almost safely assume that a tier 2 will get a 10% efficiency boost. That's just my, just a hunch there. All right, let's see what we can glean from this draft prospect screen. One is, it looks like the scouting completion varies, right? You got the strong safety there that has 0 completion, so no one has scouted this prospect. And then you see a 70% and a 90%. So I'm assuming that when these scouts go out, maybe they can scout the same person multiple times, and when they do, they get more information, and then at some point you have all the information that you could possibly get, so you have reached 100% completion, whatever that means. So we can't tell if they're revealing ratings, attributes, some type of a text-based feedback, like this guy is a great scrambler, or this guy is good in the pocket, or something like that. The only other thing that we can tell is scheme fit, right? Because you see the puzzle pieces. That's one of my ideas, was the puzzle piece. I think initially EA had a organizational chart icon, and I said, you know what? A puzzle piece. You should throw a puzzle piece, because the scheme, right? The scheme, every player in the scheme is one more piece in the puzzle. And they were like, yeah, send me the, draft something up. So I just, sent them a graphic, and then they went from there. So anyway, that was a digression, but, love being able to make changes that actually find themselves in the game. Okay, so one other thing I noticed is that for the second rated draft prospect, as scouts have gotten close to learning or uncovering all of his scouting information, you can see that he has a number 6-22. I'm wondering if that is sort of his projected talent, so whether he's going to be drafted somewhere between the 6th and the 22nd person drafted, I'm wondering, or it could be something else. And this might not be anything but a right end that's 5'10", 210 pounds, and a rising, star on the draft prospect board. It looks like you may have moved up from number 12 to number 4, just like Tony Swift has moved up from number 2 to number 1, if those numbers mean what I think they mean. And so I think that's it with this page. There are a ton of things that I didn't get a chance to talk about yet, so we're going to leave that for the next episode. So we'll talk about things like undoing free agent signings in the transaction log, some draft changes, play call cooldowns and limits, X factor customization edits, pre-order bonus option toggle to turn on and off, ability edit controls, staff talent cost modifiers, all these things that we have some additional controls on. And so anyway, stay tuned for the next episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Hit me up with a like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I don't monetize these days, so I just do the videos for the love of the game. I like to share my information, or just like to talk up the game. So if you'd like to do that, hit me up on socials. I'm Mad Scientist 06 everywhere, no space. Talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.